Hi everyone. So I'm back with another video, and it's a break from our normal service. I was going to show you the rest of the games in the New West Open, and I will do that, although I'm really taking a long time to do that. But in the meantime, I've been playing in a small tournament in a chess club in Vancouver, and I played up my round one game, which I'll show you at the end of this video, which wasn't too exciting. But my round two game was very interesting because it was played against the highest rated opponent I've played so far, and he is 550 points higher rated than me, which, if you look at an ELO table, would give me about a 3% probability of winning. But why am I showing you this game? Ooh. So I thought this game was very interesting, and it was hugely challenging, of course. So I want to kind of skip ahead on the videos I haven't done and show you this one. And this might actually kind of motivate me to make my other ones quicker as well. So anyway, we'll just dive into the game. The time control is 60 minutes plus 30-second increment, so it's shorter than the games I usually played. So my opponent opened with a d4, and I like to play knight c6 or knight f6 even. Also, I'm using the chess.com analysis board because, God, this is so much easier to use than the software I was using before. I can just very easily draw arrows, change all the colors. Oh wow, it's amazing. Okay, take those away. Right, so knight f6, knight f3, g6, g3, d4, I'm sorry, d5, bishop g2, and bishop g7. So after the first 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, we have a very symmetrical position. And when I say very symmetrical, I mean symmetrical. So all of our pieces are the same, they're all mirroring each other. So this bishop is the same as a knight, are the same as this bishop and knight. These two pawns are the same, these two pawns are the same. My opponent castled here just to get his king safe. And I played bishop f5, um, which develops the bishop. You can see on the left hand side actually of the board there's a much easier and easier to understand kind of analysis kind of bar. So at the moment it's saying it's plus 0.48 for white, and that bar will kind of slide up and down depending on whether the computer thinks one side is winning or not. So this is easier than kind of looking at a number on the top left hand corner. So c4, he wants to break open the center. My king is in the middle and his is not, so he wants to attack this pawn and try to break the center open. And also, this pawn is controlling the center. It's one of my central pawns. His pawn here is on a flank, so he would love if he could take this pawn and get rid of one of my center pawns for one of his less central pawns. I can just take this pawn, but my issue then is I'm not developing anything. I'm not getting my king safe, and if I snatch the pawn and try to be greedy, he could play moves like knight c3, continuing to develop, preparing e4, which would make me have to react, and I'd start losing a lot of tempos. So here I just decided to castle, and he played c takes d4, and I recaptured with the knight. And my kind of justification was, okay, I've lost the center pawn, but I've got this very nice knight in the middle. It is ready to be kicked away by e4 though, and e4 would actually possibly win a piece if I'm not careful, since my bishop and knight are kind of ready to be forked by a pawn. They're all set up nicely. And he played knight c3, preparing to play e4. I captured the knight because I didn't see anywhere else my knight could really go. In this position, he's getting ready to play e4, which wouldn't actually win a piece because I could play knight takes c6 anyway. But my only other options are to go back with the knight, which blocks me moving my b pawn. I can go back here, which blocks my bishop. So I didn't want to do any of those. So I captured. He recaptured with the c pawn. And now, although he's centralized one of his pawns, it's backward, which means it can't be defended by any other pawns. So I'm kind of hoping that later in the game I might be able to capture this pawn. But the upside for him is that I've lost my d pawn, and he's only lost. He's down a b pawn. So a d pawn is better than a b pawn. So he's got a better kind of set of pawns than I do right now. Queen c1. He really doesn't love this move, but sometimes you make a bad move and you just make it because you have no reason. This may not be the best move ever, but I have reasons for making it, and which I'm going to share now. There's three ideas behind queen c1. First of all, I defend this bishop again, um, because I want to play bishop h3 and trade off my kind of bad bishop, which is on the same color square as a lot of my pawns, for his good bishop, which is defending his king. So if he gives me a chance, I'm going to play bishop h3 and retrade off the two bishops. The second idea is that his bishop here is lined up with my b pawn and my rook, so my b pawn needs extra defending, because if he ever moves his knight, sorry, too many arrows. Get rid of these. Yeah, so if he ever moves his knight, this knight here, then he'll have a discovered attack on my b pawn, and that might be annoying. And the third reason is I want to play c4 at some point, but my c pawn isn't defended. Now I could probably play c4 anyway at some point. Like I could play c4 now. It might even be the best move. And if he captures, he may be winning a pawn, but then both of these pawns would be isolated. You know, to show that on the board. Now that isn't the best pawn structure ever, and it'll be easy enough in time once I move my knight out and move my rook out to actually capture those pawns back. But I wanted to play queen c1 for the two aforementioned reasons. So queen c1, for better or for worse. He played knight e5, putting his knight in the center. And I developed my last minor piece and challenged his best piece. So he thought here for a while, and he kind of didn't really look too happy with his move after I played knight to d7, although it's the most obvious move. So he just decided to trade off here. I have to capture with the bishop here, because my queen has a job defending the b pawn. So if I play queen takes, computer actually says it's fine, but I was just afraid of what happens when bishop takes. Probably rook b1 is the right move, and then he has to move his bishop. Then I have a nice open file for my rook. But no, I just played, after knight takes, I just played bishop takes. And then my bishop is ready to go over here maybe, and challenge his good bishop, or is still ready to go to h3 as well. So I still want to trade off these bishops. Queen b3, putting more pressure on my b pawn. But knight or rook to b8 defends, and also lines the rook up with his queen. So down the road, that could be useful for me. He played bishop a3, again developing a piece and attacking my e pawn. So he's putting me under a lot of pressure here, but the computer still says it's even because the computer defends perfectly. I played rook to e8 here, which the computer likes. I'm improving my rook. I put it in the center, and I'm defending my e pawn. I'm also ready to play e5 at some point. So he plays f4. He doesn't want to draw and just play boring. He wants to start attacking and checkmating me, which is a good plan. So f4 and bishop h3 as discussed previously. e4. He's really going for me now. So in this position, again, the computer says it's pretty even. Actually, the computer's is one of the few times in the game where the computer says dead even. But if you look at the board, his pieces are much more active than mine. I've actually only moved 2 pawns the entire game, and one of them have been captured. So only my g pawn is moved. I still haven't moved any of these pawns here, which, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but he's got control of the center. He's got a beautiful queen here, a beautiful bishop. His rooks are ready to go to the center. His bishop is a monster. Well, it was a monster earlier on in the game. Now I'm more worried about these pieces. So his position is just much better than mine. My pieces are quite passive. So I trade off the bishops. He recaptured with the king. I played b6 because I want to be able to move my rook later on in the game. And I want to stop worrying about the threats of queen captures me on b7. f5. He wants to break my king open. And here I don't want to capture. I don't want to capture this pawn here because that would open my king up. So if I captured here, it's probably fine, but I was worried about after rook takes, he could maybe find a way to get his queen over here and attack my pinned bishop. So I didn't want any of that to happen. So instead of playing that, I played g5, which keeps the position closed. So now he doesn't have any captures. e5, yeah, really going for it. So the good thing about what he's doing is that he's pushing his pawns forward and he's trying to checkmate me. bad thing about what he's doing is that he's moving all the pawns in front of his king. So when these pawns go forward, as they do, they don't protect his king anymore. So, and since I traded off my light squared bishop for his light squared bishop, my queen is on the light square here, so it's easier for it to infiltrate into his position. So that's what I want to do at the moment. I want to start kind of trying to demonstrate that his position isn't as good as he thinks it is, and that by pushing his kingside pawns, he's actually exposing himself for an attack. And I somewhat succeed in that, but you know, maybe not as much as I thought I would. So queen a6, as discussed. I want to get in there. So my queen has 2 infiltration squares now, and it also puts pressure on his bishop, so his queen can't just move away. No, if he played a silly move here, if he played queen d1 with the idea of coming over here, then obviously I capture his bishop. So queen a6, and he defended one of the infiltrations. He defended against queen e2 check, and he also improved his rook, so now his rooks are pretty good. And I played rook to a to d8, and here the computer says he's doing very well. Trying to figure out after which move. Yeah, after g4 it likes his position because this pawn is undefended and can be easily targeted. And again, my pieces are quite passive, so over the next few moves I don't make any specific mistakes. It's just more the case that the computer starts to see that his position is very, very strong and it's going to be quite hard to defend. In fact, in this position, after g4, after rook b to d8, it says he's got a 1.5 advantage, which means like a pawn and a half advantage, even though material is equal. So his position's starting to become very strong. And here he played, I suppose you can call it a tactic, although it doesn't win any material, but it does improve one of his pieces. Bishop takes e7. So it looks like he's just taking a bishop for the pawn, or taking a pawn for the bishop. But after I recapture, he's got f6. So this forks 2 pieces. And I actually saw this in the game, so I wasn't too worried about this. So after I capture with the bishop, because I want to save my rook, I want to capture a pawn back, he recaptures with the rook. And he's got a very active rook now. His rook is pinning my pawn here, and it's lined up with my queen. And it's also putting pressure on my f-pawn. It's also stopping me from playing h6 to ever defend the g5 pawn, which comes in very handy for him later. Queen to d3. I'm threatening queen to d2 check, winning his rook. Well, it wouldn't win his rook, but he'd have to play king e1 or king f1. And then I could start, start annoying him. Probably play back queen to d3 and maybe try for perpetual check to maybe earn a draw. But he saw it. Queen to b2 defending. No, actually, when he played this move, I thought this was purely a defensive move, because he thought for a long time on this move. And I thought he would maybe go for ideas like, playing queen to b6, attacking my rook here, or maybe playing rook f to e1 or something, or rook e to f1. But when I saw queen to b2, I got a bit overconfident, because I thought to myself, oh yeah, he's calculated that his attack doesn't work and he's worried about me. But queen b2 has an idea that I didn't see. And after I played my overzealous, overconfident move c5, he's got one move and one move only that wins the game. As you can see, after c5, he's got a plus 2.23 advantage. But if you look at the moves he can make to get that advantage, there's only one, and every other move past that is a draw or losing for him. And it's not an easy move to find, so it'll be interesting if you want to pause the video and see what's the only winning move for white here. And he found it. And so give yourselves a few seconds. In fact, if you even want to take maybe a few minutes to look, because this is quite difficult. And I didn't see this over the board, obviously. I was quite confident in this position. And even when he played, the move is actually so subtle that even when he played it, I didn't realize how much trouble I was in. So yeah, take a look and see if you can find the winning move for white. Every other move that isn't the right move is a draw or winning for me. So he's a good player. What can I do? Alright, so I hope you found it. It's queen to c1. A very difficult move to see, especially when you're after playing queen back to b2. and then queen to c1. It's a very difficult maneuver to see, but he fair play to him. He saw it. It's crawling your queen back. It's two retreating moves in order to try to win the game. Obviously, I alluded to it earlier, but this g pawn is undefended, and I can't defend it with h6. And if he captures my g6 pawn, it comes with check as well, which isn't good. So here I thought for a while, and I didn't have too much time on my clock by this stage. Neither did he. I think I might have been down to about 5 minutes, and I knew I had two choices really here. I had king f8 or king h8, and I chose the wrong one, although both are losing. But I chose the one that, according to the computer, loses way more. Whereas if I played the other move, I'll probably lose anyway. But it's actually quite difficult for him to see. Again, if you want to pause your video and you can try to think about which move is better. But I play king f8, and as soon as you play king f8, the computer says +5, +10, whatever. I should play king h8. The reason I played king f8 is because this rook is undefended, so I was afraid after he takes here with the queen, that he'd have a lot of he'd have a lot of nasty discoveries where he could move his rook anywhere, and he's attacking my rook. Sorry, that's what I was worried about. If I played king h8, he'd capture here, and then he'd have, I could make a random move. I could try something, but this rook is undefended and this rook is undefended, so he's threatening a lot of discoveries. But it's saying after queen to g5, if I remember the analysis, I can play queen to c2, which looks, what was it again? I just got to check. Analysis. Yeah, okay, so it's saying the best move here. Oh yeah, sorry, rook g8, yeah, I forgot about that. Attacking his queen. He has to find queen e3 here to maintain a good advantage. And then even then, there's a challenge after queen to c2 check. Has to find rook f2. And then, oh yeah, this is what I was trying to find, the trick move. It's c4, or c takes d4. So in this position, he has to play c takes d4 himself and be patient, and not take my queen immediately. Obviously, the temptation is when you see a free queen, you take it. But then after I take his queen, the computer says it's a draw. So in this position, he would just have to take with the c pawn and just be patient and take my queen next turn, or let me get away with my queen. But I didn't play king h8, unfortunately, and I didn't see any of this anyway during over the board. I played king f8, and after queen g4, the computer just says it's not good for me. So I captured a pawn back. So material is even, but he's +5, so that's not good. And he played rook f to e1. Again, I think this is one of the only moves that wins for him in this position. Yeah, so rook f e1 is +4. The rest of the moves are +1, +0.7. So again, really good player. He sees, he's got one move in a lot of positions that win, and he sees them. That's the thing that you take for granted when you're playing against lower rated players. A lot of times they may have a winning move or two winning moves, but they don't see it and they play a silly move. Whereas good players, they have one winning move and they see it and then they beat you. So that happens. Rook f to e1. I just took a pawn because nothing else to do here. And he played king h3, a very sophisticated move. He doesn't want, he's crushing me no matter what. He's got this going on. He's got two rooks here. He's got checks ready to go here. All he's worried about, the only way I can ever get away with this is if I have some weird trick where I check his king, or maybe get perpetual check, or force a queen trade at an inopportune moment for him. So he says, none of that, king h3, your move. And I've got nothing to do here. I just played queen c4, trying to defend this point. It doesn't matter. This pawn is pinned, so he does a bit of interference here, e6. It disrupts the communication between my pawn and my queen, and also just threatens to capture the f7 pawn, which would be devastating. By this stage I knew I'd lost, so I just played on anyway. Nothing else to do. I attacked his queen, but he captured, I'm forced to capture back. And you capture with the rook, king e8, and queen e7 is checkmate. So I allowed him to checkmate me. I wanted to be a nice guy. Alright, so that was my game against Omar. I think I played reasonably well, but there was a one key critical moment where he played queen c1 that I didn't see, and fair play to him because I didn't see queen c1, but he did, so that's why he's 550 points higher rated than me. Yeah, but that's what happens. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you my other game I played in round one. I hope I don't mess anything up here. Where am I gone? There you are. Hopefully. Alright, let's get you. Analysis. New analysis. Alright. Load. Paste. Alright. Okay, so in this game I'm white. So I played my usual c4. And Colette played c5. And we kind of just develop our pieces and do random stuff. I'm going to kind of skip through a lot of the kind of early moves unless something specific kind of good happens for somebody. So yeah, so this is the first. There's a grandmaster I really like watching called Yasusaruwan. I mentioned it before, and he has a video about when he was really young. He played the English opening, which is this opening, and this position or position similar. He played rook b1 because people would be like, "What, rook b1? What kind of ridiculous move is that?" Obviously, I should just castle here or play d3 or b3 and get my bishop out. But sometimes it's okay to play a bad move as long as you know why you're playing it and there's an idea behind it, right? Because chess is a battle of ideas. It's not a battle of, who can find the most perfect move every time, because nobody can find the perfect move every time. But if you have an idea and you have a plan and you know what you want to do, often kind of, less good moves become better moves. Once when they're combined. When you're playing for a specific plan. My plan with rook b1 and Yasusaruwan's plan with rook b1 is he wants to play b4 and then b5 and then b6, which I do in this game. And if he ever starts taking, it starts to open up lines, and I've already got a very well positioned rook on the b file. Basically, the idea is that you get a very strong b pawn and you just keep pushing it, and your opponent doesn't really know what to do because they don't face this, right? So d6, a3, I'm prepping b4 and b4. Colette played a6 to stop me from playing b5, but I played b5 anyway. Go me. So b5 hits. She should probably trade and open up her rook, but she didn't do that. She played knight a5, attacking this pawn. So d3, defending. Bishop d7, bishop d2. I'm lining up my bishop with his knight. Queen c or queen e8. It's a very strange looking move, but computer doesn't necessarily think it's bad. I think the idea is that she wants to capture a lot of times on b5. But I don't let that happen. I play a4, so now my pawn is defended twice. So she can never really capture with a piece ever. b6, which defends her knight. I played knight to g4, which opens a discovered attack on her rook. So she moved her rook. I castle, get my king safe. Queen c8, which again looks unusual, but I actually played a very similar idea in my game that I just showed you. She's lining up her queen and her bishop because she wants to play bishop h3 and trade off these really good bishops. My white squared bishop is better than her white squared bishop. Actually, they're both quite similar in this game, but she's also got a very strong, powerful dark squared bishop as well. So she wants to trade off these bishops. I played knight back to e4. Bishop h3, as discussed. I trade off these knights with check, and I put my other knight on d5. And this knight's very strong. And if you ever play e6, you can't do that at the moment because your bishop is hanging. So it's not too easy to get rid of this knight on d5. She traded off the bishops. and she pinned my knight. But I played e4, which defends my knight and really kind of solidifies this knight in here. And again, she still can't play e6 to kick away the knight because I capture her bishop. So she plays bishop back. So now she can kick away my knight if she wants. But here I've got a pretty easy enough winning method, which I think I had last turn, I just didn't see it. But I've got bishop takes a5. She's forced to capture. And now when I play b6, it's defended by my knight and my rook. And her rook has to move back. It gains a tempo. And now I've got a very powerful pass to b pawn. And the kind of the genius of rook to b1 finally comes, to fruition. This b pawn is a monster now, and it can be easily defended more by playing queen to d3, playing rook up to b2 and rook b1. So if I ever need to defend that pawn more, I can. It's not an issue. And this knight is just a monster. So computer likes my position now, although material is even. And part of why I played queen takes or bishop takes on a5 was that after she captures, she's got two isolated a pawns which can't be very easily defended. So after she moves her rook, I've got queen to d2, and if you can defend your a5 pawn, you're a better player than me. You're a better player than everybody, actually. So she didn't try to defend it. She just improved her bishop, put it in the center of the board, which is good. So I captured her a pawn. So now I'm up a pawn. And here she played rook f to b8. She's probably not in a good position now, but she's in a terrible position after that move. So if you want to pause the video and see if you can find the move that the computer likes. Before that move, the computer says plus 2.3. After it, there's a move that's plus 5 nearly. So you can see if you can find it. It's kind of it's not too hard to see. Yeah, pause the video and see if you can see it. So if you find it, great. And if you didn't even look for it, what are you even watching this video for? So the move is knight to c7, and a rook is trapped. So on the previous move, it played b6 to control a7, and she trapped her own rook in here, so she can't move her rook anymore. So she played rook to c8. Don't really know what to suggest for her here. And after I trade off, she captured with the c rook, and I move my queen back. There's a similar idea that Yashisaro I'll stop talking about it soon, I swear. That Yashisaro discusses, and Ben Feingold discusses it as well, is that when your queen's on one side of the board and you want it on the other side of the board, you can sometimes do what's called like a billiard shot, kind of bounce it over here. So I mean, ideally I'd be bouncing it off the cushion, right? But I kind of want to do like a magic shot. So it's bouncing off nothing. So I want to get my queen over to the king side and start attacking these pawns and this pawn and start checking his king. So queen to d2. I'm retreating and getting my queen back into a better position. She wants to capture my pawn here. I say go on, capture my pawn if you want. Notice that if she captures my b pawn, her e pawn is hanging. And also she can't capture it anyway because my rook is defending. So e6, which defends her e pawn by moving it away. h4, h4. Her g pawn is pinned, so I want to play h5 and capture. She played queen to c6. She wants to capture my b pawn. a4 or a5. You're not capturing my b pawn. Queen to a5 or queen to a4. I'm going to capture a5 pawn instead. Queen to e7. Go ahead. You can capture that if you want. Bishop to e5, defending her d pawn. And I play here queen to c7. And it's very hard to put a rook anywhere good, because if you move your rook, I'm going to start playing b7. You'll have to put you have to blockade the pawn if you don't want me to make an extra queen. But obviously I'm controlling the queenie square now, so yeah, good luck. I respect this move. I'm not sure if she did this on purpose, but she played d5, which opens a discovered attack onto my queen. So she's kind of hoping if I just play a careless move, if I play queen takes rook here, she has bishop takes queen. So I respect the effort, but I saw that her bishop was undefended here and was attacking my queen, so I just took her bishop. And here she took her the a pawn. I think she forgot that her rook was hanging, or else she just didn't care anymore, which is understandable. So I took her rook with check. She moved. I put her king back on the back rank. B7, and you don't need an advanced degree in hyperbolic topology to guess my next move. She played queen to e8. I suppose trying to block checkmate in one, which he did. So I make a queen, check, and here I've got checkmate in one. And I wasn't doing this to BM her. I actually just didn't see that rook b8 was checkmate. As soon as she took my queen, I just took back with my queen. So this is like checkmate in 5 or something, or instead. Yeah, it's like checkmate in 4 according to the computer. I think she just wanted to end the game, so once I put my queen back on e5, she put her king back and said to me, "Here, try again." Checkmate in 1, and I saw it this time. Alright, so those are my 2 games that I played in the Vancouver chess tournament so far. So I've won a game and I've lost a game. Um, Both were very enjoyable games. The first game wasn't too exciting, but the second game I found very challenging, and obviously I lost, but I feel like I learned a lot looking back at the analysis. So hopefully I'll take some of the lessons from that game and take it forward. And in the meantime, I wouldn't mind playing against, somebody who's rated higher than me, but not as high rated as Omar. But maybe to get maybe a more reasonable challenge. But thanks for watching the videos. I appreciate it, and I hope I'll get the last few Westminster games up soon as well. All right, thank you very much.